friend of ours, and I'm gonna be honest with you, she kind of feels like a celebrity to me, even though we're friends. But I am just always amazed by you, always impressed by you, and always inspired by you. So introduce yourself. Who are you?
I'm Sarah Williams, the Sarah Williams, according to Sarah. And I have a multi-million-dollar e-commerce business that specializes in subscription boxes. And I also have an amazing coaching business called Launch Your Box, where I get to help people start, launch, and grow their own subscription boxes. And I have the pleasure of teaching over 4,000 students. So that's me.
That is a lot of
Gosh,
students.
that's
A lot of
incredible.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Are you ready for rapid
I'm,
fire questions?
I am so ready for this. I feel like I was made for this.
Awesome. First question is, when you were a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Okay, do not laugh at this, but when I was a kid, my only goal in life was that I would wear a power suit with a briefcase. I didn't care what job that was, but my mom will tell you that that is all I wanted. I wanted to wear a power suit and carry a briefcase, and it didn't matter what I did.
So that's particularly interesting because, like, knowing you personally and talking about your job history, did you ever do that?
Okay, I did at one point, and it was so not me, because you know me, like I'm literally in a t-shirt and sandals every single day, and I carry a backpack. Like there's nothing about me that says power suit and briefcase. I just thought that all the cool chicks wore these power suits and briefcase, and maybe they did because it was the 80s, and cool CEOs didn't wear t-shirts and flip-flops to work back then. So maybe that I always wanted to be a CEO, but I related that to my clothing choice. I'm not sure.
Quick story. I was a camp counselor for exactly 2 weeks, one of my summers in college. And they said during the staff training, this will be the hardest job you'll ever have. But remember in those hard moments that you could be spending this summer in an office. And there I was, an office. Like, I get it. I do get it. So although Amanda broke your no laughing rule and laughed immediately, I 100% do get it. Okay. Speaking of what you wanted to be when you were a kid, what were you like as a kid?
So I'm a middle child, and so instantly rebellious, instantly thought that my older sibling got to break all the rules and my younger sibling was the baby and got everything she wanted. So instantly I was always like the one that would buck up against the rules and challenge everyone around me and just be really hard to deal with. That was me as a child. So, you know, and I was always jealous of the older one or the younger one. So it was always like that one that you don't find where you fit in. You're not the oldest and you're not the baby. So you always kind of question your identity.
What is one of your favorite accounts to follow on Instagram or TikTok?
Oh my gosh. I don't know specifically, but I just love bakers and cookie makers and cake decorators. I don't cook anything, okay? But I am mesmerized by these cake decorators and I will watch for hours, never knowing I'm never going to make a cake. I'm never going to bake a cookie. I don't know what it is. I love it.
What are you the most insecure about when it comes to posting videos of yourself online?
Oh my gosh. Do we have an hour for that? Because that could be a whole episode. Listen, I am not a skinny girl. And so I have a lot of self-esteem issues. So if there's my muffin top hanging out or my love handles, or you can see my gut and I'm sideways, or I got a double chin, like I'm like, scrap the video. We're not posting that anywhere. And they're like, but that's how you look. I'm like, no, I don't look like that. I don't look like that. I'm like, we got to work on these angles better because we're not posting that kind of stuff on the interwebs. That'll come back and haunt you someday. So that's what I'm most insecure about. I mess up like what I say all the time. I'm not insecure about that. I'm not insecure about maybe losing my train of thought or saying something kind of dumb or something like that. I'm not afraid of that because that's just who I am, and I will laugh it off and play it off and get back on track. But something about my physical appearance, like I just want to feel like I look good. I think that gives me a lot of confidence. And when you look at yourself on camera and you don't feel like you look good because you got your muffin top hanging out or you got your love handles hanging out or something, then it shakes your confidence. And so you can't deliver the message that you want if you don't feel confident. Yeah. So my sweaters are good. They cover up a lot of things.
Good thing it's sweater weather.
Sweater weather.
What is some of the worst advice you've ever received?
Oh man, I could just write a whole book about that. But I think that
Book number 2.
book number 2, you're never going to be successful because you're a woman.
Ugh.
That you should always work for someone else because this kind of entrepreneurship lifestyle is not effective for women.
Mm.
Yeah. And, you know, I told you that I'm like this rebellious middle child. They prove you wrong, you know, like, don't tell me I can't do something. That's the first thing that I'm going to go try to do. So I think that there's, and I can't say that it's old school mentality, but it feels old school mentality. And there are just so many people that believe that still. But, you know, there are so many people that would laugh at that. So I think you have to take everything with a grain of salt and you have to realize what you're capable of.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that you didn't listen, and look at you now.
I know.
What were you the most nervous about when making your first hire?
When making my first hire, I wasn't giving myself a regular paycheck. And so that was super scary for me. Like, I'm about to give somebody else a paycheck
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not even giving myself a regular paycheck. That felt like a huge responsibility, and also it felt sad to me that I'm gonna pay someone else, but I still can't even pay me, right?
Yeah.
And could I pay someone else regularly? Was this temporary? Was this going to work out, or am I going to be making that much less because I'm not even making a paycheck every other week right now? I might make enough to pay the car payment in a month. I might make enough to buy the groceries for the month or something like that. But it wasn't like I had a salary or an hourly rate and I was giving myself a paycheck for all those hours I was working. And now here's somebody coming into my business and I am going to give them a rate and I'm going to pay them every 2 weeks. And it felt almost like a disservice to me. But what happened when I made that very first hire is I thought maybe my output would double and I would be able to make more money. But we were so efficient just by adding those extra hands into my business that we quadrupled the output. So not
Wow.
only was she earning her paycheck, but she now was helping me earn enough, and I got a steady paycheck for the very first time. And so it was really eye-opening for me, that very first hire, because I had a scarcity mindset around it for a long time. Like, if I pay somebody else, that's less what I'm going to make. And a lot of solopreneurs do that. And they say, well, I can do it. Then I don't have to pay someone and then I make more profit. But there's only so long that you can be a solo entrepreneur before you hit this tipping point of you're either going to grow and you can't keep up, or you're going to shut your business down because you can't keep up. And so there's like that tipping point. And if you don't hire, you're going to burn out and you're going to shut down, or you're going to have terrible customer service, or you're going to be producing inferior products because you're trying to do too many things at once. And so it's just a detriment to your business not to hire. I tell my students that they should hire before they feel like they're ready to hire, even if that's somebody 5 hours a week, just to start to take something off the plate. And you're going to realize that somebody that has a specific skill set can do a lot in 5 hours a week, where you're trying to learn something. It might take you 20 hours to do the same thing that 5 hours, and you freed up your brain 20 hours to work on your business, to pay someone for 5 hours. So yeah, it's definitely challenging to hire your first person.
I love all of that. I just want to record that soundbite and just blast it all
We
over
did.
social media.
We did record it.
I mean,
Coming to a
reviews.
YouTube short near you. It'll be fine.
Thank you so much, Sarah Williams. Thank you, Sarah Williams.
Yes.
What time did you wake up this morning?
I woke up at 5:45 this morning. That's pretty regular for me. If my eyes aren't cracked open by 6, I am exhausted, but I'm a morning person. My brain is done by 3:00 in the afternoon because I am going intensely for early in the morning.
Yeah.
My kids, like my daughter had to be at school at 6:15. So I'm up, I'm getting ready, I'm taking her to school. And when I get home from school, like, I'm in work mode. So if I could get up and get ready before I have to take her out, then instantly I don't have to do that when I get back. And now I'm in work mode and I'm so productive. In the mornings. I can tell after lunch, my productivity falls off. So in my schedule, I try to put things after lunch that don't require a lot of brain power for me, a lot of strategy, a lot of tactical things that I have to dig in and figure out. I like to do my podcast recordings in the afternoon. I like to do some of my creative work, like designing t-shirts or things like that, because it's not like really intense, quiet, like nobody bother me kind of work. It's just like sit and do the things. And so I try to plan my schedule like that so that I get the most out of every day and I don't have to work 12, 14 hours every day to get things done.
That sounds nice.
Someday.
What is one of your biggest pet peeves?
I mean, I don't know that I have pet peeves. I think things irritate me, but I mean, when it comes to what, like dating, can we talk about pet peeves when you're dating? Let's see. Let's talk about pet peeves with your kids. Like there's so many things you could talk about. I think that what I've learned in this ripe old age of mine is that we got to stop letting the small stuff derail us. And what you could classify as a pet peeve, like ask yourself, why does that really matter? Why does that really bother you? I think if it's out of your control, you got to let it go. And if it's in your control, be the solution to the problem. And then don't bring this negative energy with you over things all the time, because it will carry through your whole day and it will derail everything good you have going on. So I don't like to live in a place of negativity.
Bravo. Also, just when I thought I could get Sarah Williams to come be Petty Betty with us, but no.
Well, get me on a bad day and you never know. Then everything will be off the rails. I will hate everything and everybody that crosses my path that day. No, I just really don't. I try not to wallow in stuff like that, because if I let myself go there, it will affect my whole day. And I got too much work to do to be letting stuff like that affect my whole day. So I might just cuss it out for 10 minutes and be over it and move on. But I try not to let things like that derail me.
That's awesome.
Good for you. How many text messages do you send in a day?
Oh gosh, I couldn't even count. Do you want to know how many unread text messages I have currently?
Yes.
581 unread text messages. And people look at my phone, they're like, oh my God. I'm like, do I text you back? Yeah. Okay, then don't worry about it. Don't worry about anybody else but yourself. It is so crazy. It is so crazy.
I'm shocked that you do text me back.
See,
now you should feel, yeah, I was going to say you should feel super honored now.
You feel great about yourself?
I feel really, really honored.
Mm-hmm. As you should. As you should.
How did you meet your longest friend?
In high school. My longest friend is from high school. And what's cool about that friendship is that even after all these years of, we don't live in the same town and, we have different lives and things like that, we still could like pick up like if we were 17 again. But in high school, I was a band nerd and I played the drums, and she was a band nerd and played the French horn. And we just had like, we just clicked, and we would spend like every waking minute, at each other's houses and stuff like that. And we're still good friends today.
I love it. What is one thing that would move the needle forward in your business right now?
Ooh, if I had 12 more hours a day, that would move the needle forward big time. I think right now my biggest challenge is getting all the things done. I have an amazing team. I have a team of 16 that help me run both my businesses, and both are multi-million-dollar businesses. So there's a lot of cogs in the wheel all the time. And more often than not, well, I would say probably 98% of the time, I am the bottleneck on any of those moving pieces. And we have taken so much off my plate, and it's been so great. But at the end of the day, I am still the one that holds everybody else back. And I hate that. I hate that feeling. And it kind of drags onto you every day. Like I've got, 16 different people that need something from me today. And I've only got, and I'm on calls all day. Like, have you checked this? Have you checked that? I'm like, no, I've been on a live for my retail business this morning. And then I got on a PR call right after that for an hour. And then I got on a Zoom call with my Scale Your Box students for an hour. And then I took 30 minutes for lunch. And now I'm doing a podcast with Sarah and Amanda. And then I'm doing my own podcast at 2:00 to record for my podcast. And so it's like all day long I've been on calls. No, I haven't even looked at email today. And that probably won't happen until after dinner when I can like sit down and have some brain cells again. But that's common to what a lot of my days are like because of my businesses. And I think the biggest issue for me is that the 16 people don't see all of that because they're not involved in all of those different avenues. So they might see that, oh, she had a student call at 11 o'clock. Let me see if she's read my email yet. Well, they didn't know all the other things that I had going on, right? Because they're not a part of that. So they don't see that. And they also don't see that there's 15 other people that needed something from me like an hour ago too. And so it always feels like this mounting pressure for me. And then I just like, sometimes I want to snap because I'm like, do you guys know what you're doing to me? Like I have all this stuff to do. You're not the only one that needs something from me. Chill out. But I think that would help me in my business if I just had a way to have more time, to move the needle forward with all of our projects, because I want to do all the things. But the problem is I am the face of my brand for both businesses, and each one is a full-time job. And so that's been really challenging for me.
Realistically, if you did have 12 more hours in the day, so would they, and then there would just be more.
They'd need more stuff from me, right? I'm gonna need them to pause. I need like this warped universe where they pause, they go to sleep, but Sarah still works for 12 hours and gets 8 hours of sleep. That would be great.
I am having a great time, and you have all the best advice, but I feel like we cannot just talk all day. So I think that we will call it, but thank you so much for spending some time with us out of your busy schedule. And I'm glad one of the meetings was with us. It's been a lot of fun, and you have so many good little pieces of advice. Thank you again, and make sure that you like this video, and if you want to find Sarah, her information is in the description down below. We have new videos every single Wednesday, and we also have a podcast, a Big Brave Business podcast, anywhere you can find podcasts, and those are new episodes every Tuesday. So either here or there. We will see you next week.